to Champagne Charlie Driscoll. Subscribe to Sporting Icons for the latest boxing news.
Right, so let's have a little talk about Josh Warrington versus Kid Galahad. Now, yesterday they had the press conference. I didn't really get a chance to do a video yesterday, which is why I'm doing it today. And there's a few things that I liked about this press conference, and there's many things that I like about the fight, and there's a couple of things that I'm not too happy with as well. And we'll get through all of them. Now, first of all, the press conference was quite lively. The Leeds supporters come out in force for Josh Warrington, and of course the fight is going to be happening in Leeds as well. So this is Leeds versus Sheffield, okay? So Josh Warrington Leeds, Barry Kid Galahad from Sheffield, okay? They're both Yorkshire, so hence the rivalry. These guys rival in football, of course they're going to rival in boxing and in everyday life, I suppose. Now, the Leeds fans came out in force. They were quite vocal in the press conference, which was cool. Problem is, I think that some people kind of forget that the press conference is not about you. It's actually about the people on the stage, the people on the table, the people, the fighters, the promoters, the trainers, okay? So these people need to speak, okay? It's not the Leeds fan show. This is the Josh Warrington Kid Galahad show. So that's the first one. And while everything was great and it was funny to start with, some people just kept going on and on and on. And it did kind of ruin it in parts. Anyway, that said, so they definitely have their passion, and big up to the Leeds fans as well. They certainly are passionate. We've always known that about Leeds as well. We know that in the football, they have one of the best fan support in the football world in Leeds, okay? Now, I'm a Newcastle fan, so we have the best, just saying. Right, now, the press conference was quite lively in itself with those on the table. Of course, you had Josh Warrington and Kid Galahad pretty much going at each other. Well, no, not really going at each other. I think Josh Warrington was more the one having the digs. Galahad was more calm and laid back in it, which is quite unusual for Galahad. When he wants to kick off verbally, he's very, very good at it, but he chose kind of not to do that in this one. If anything, it was more Dominic Ingle, who is Galahad's trainer. He was the one who was, I don't say acting out of character, not at all, because Dominic Ingle, he does this from time to time, but it's quite rare that you see it. Dom usually sits back and just lets the fighters talk and the promoters, managers, and whatever else. But in this one, he was shouting out to the crowd, you know, come down and see me. Let's have like a little chat. He took his jacket off. And of course, he's playing instigator as well, okay? Dom is stirring the pot. This is Leeds versus Sheffield, okay? He's Sheffield. So he did a very, very good job at selling this fight. And unfortunately, I think he was the only one who did a good job of selling this fight. And that's going to bring me on to my next point. Because I like this fight. I mean, if you look at the table, it's only really Galahad and Dom Ingle that was really interested in the fight. Josh Warrington, his dad is trainer. Not so much. They wanted unification. They didn't want to take this fight, and it got forced on them because of the IBF mandatory. As we know with the IBF, you do what we tell you, or we strip you. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how long you've been champion, you will obey by the rules, and I can only respect the IBF for that. Frank Warren, of course, Josh Warrington is his guy. Kid Galahad is Eddie Hearn's guy, okay, but Frank Warren, he put it on to BT Sport. He won the purse bid, and it's not going to be on pay-per-view as well. So I have to give Frank Warren big, big props for that. And for me, I wouldn't have minded this one being on pay-per-view. Maybe I'm being a little biased because I like both fighters very much, and it's a fight that I wanted to see for quite some time. It really is. And this is the kind of domestic fight that I really, really like. So had they put it on pay-per-view, I wouldn't have grumbled at all. I know a lot of people would have, but personally, I'm just speaking from my own point of view, I wouldn't have. So anyway, but don't have to worry about that. Frank Warren didn't put it on pay-per-view, so big up to him. But he's very, very biased, Frank Warren, when it comes to his own fighter blatantly trolling Galahad and things like that. Why is he doing that? Because Galahad is Eddie Hearn's fighter, that's why. And in some ways, I'm a little disappointed that Eddie Hearn wasn't there. There's no reason why he shouldn't be there to represent his fighter. Okay, but ultimately, I suppose, I mean, the money's already been agreed, all that kind of thing. So does Eddie Hearn really need to hype this fight? No, probably not. But I'm talking for some kind of support for Galahad. Because Frank Warren would have digs at Galahad. And in the face-to-face as well, they both stood there face-to-face. Obviously, Frank Warren is kind of like at the back, but in between them, if you like, for the photos. And Josh Warrington decided to try and punk him, like, you know, made him flinch, kind of like give it a tick, like that. And Galahad, he kind of like started a little bit, okay? And, I mean, not too much, of course, but Frank Warren was there, like, laughing, like, yeah, go on, yeah, well done, Josh, you got him, good one. It's very underhanded of Frank Warren to do this kind of thing. He needs to be professional when he's on that stage. He didn't sell this fight at all. He really didn't. In fact, Warren's like, well, you know, this is going to be pretty much an easy fight for Josh Warrington. Josh Warrington, this is going to be an easy fight for him. And then this moves on to John Rawling. I'm not too sure what his role is. I mean, is he directly working for BT Sport? I'm presuming so. Of course, he does a commentary in that as well. But again, shouldn't he be very, very neutral? But he was taking the side of Josh Warrington as well. And again, John Rawling, he's a weirdo, man. I want to be rude, but he is proper weird. It's like he comes to this thing unscripted. Now, if he has notes in front of him, it appears like he's not following them at all. He asks the most bizarre questions, and he's very blatantly biased towards Josh Warrington. Now, when it comes to this kind of thing, okay, now of course, people say it about me, you know, I should be unbiased about certain things, but first of all, I'm a YouTuber. Second of all, I'm unpaid, okay? So when you are unpaid, you don't need to be professional, okay? I'm not on TV, I'm not out for the masses, I'm not sponsored or anything like that, so I don't need to be professional, so I can give my opinion. But John Rawling, you need to be biased. You need to sell this event. Frank Warren, you need to sell this event. Do you want people to tune in and watch this fight, or do you not? You paid a lot of money for the purse bid for this fight. Do you want people to buy the tickets for this fight? Are you solely relying on Josh Warrington's fan base to sell this arena out? Because that is ridiculous. You need to sell this as it's a 50-50 fight. It's a good fight, and it is a good fight. Is Josh Warrington going to be the favourite? Maybe. I don't know. I've seen Kid Galahad walk through people before. I've seen him outbox them, out-muscle them. I've seen him do all kinds. Kid Galahad is undefeated. Now, of course, they want to talk about the PD thing. Listen, that was a long time ago. Okay? Whether he did it on purpose, whether he knew he was doing it, whether it was an accident, whatever it may be, it's done. He served his time. He's banned for 18 months. Move on from it. Okay, but the point is, this is a good fight. If Josh Warrington is overlooking Kid Galahad, and as I said, I'm a big fan of Josh Warrington, if he's overlooking or looking past Kid Galahad, the way that everybody seems to be, I'm telling you right now, Kid Galahad will do him. He will do him royally. Of course, Josh is going to have the fan base behind him from Leeds, and as I said, they are an absolutely magical fan base. They're absolutely brilliant. But it's not really going to help him in the ring. It may give him a bit more heart, but it isn't going to help him if he's not prepared. People talk about his hand injury. This is why the fight was postponed, being announced, and they pushed the date forward and all that kind of thing, or back even. So, for me, they're not selling this fight. And so far, just by looking at it, anybody who's and ahhing whether or not to turn on BT Sport to watch this one, if you've got BT Sport or not, or buy a ticket, probably go, well, what's the point? Josh Warrington, he's just got to breeze him. I'm not interested in watching that. It's a complete mismatch. This is what they're telling you. Frank Warren, who needs to make money on this event, is telling you that this is a one-sided fight. Kid Galahad has no chance in this fight. Now, if he truly believes that, keep it stum. You need to sell the event. And this is kind of the problem that we have in British boxing sometimes. And it usually comes from Frank Warren's side. And I don't want to have a go at him. I want to praise his shows. I want to look forward to his shows. But I can't, because there's too much emphasis on other things than the actual show itself. Oh, it's a good little card. Oh, it's a good little fight. No, it's not a good little fight. It's a damn excellent fight. These are the kind of things you need to say. Okay? Keep Eddie Hearn's name out of your mouth. Keep Sky Sports out of your mouth, DAZN out of your mouth, Anthony Joshua and all that kind of thing. Let them do what they've got to do, Frank. You do what you've got to do. Give us great fights. You give us great fight nights. You hype the fight. We buy into it. There's only going to be one winner in this one. The boxing fans, of course, but ultimately you. The idea of a promoter is to make money. Anyway, I mean, that's my thoughts on it. I think that this is a it is a 50-50 fight. And there is argument to be had that Lee Selby and Carl Frampton were past their sell-by date when Josh Warrington beat them. I'm not too convinced by that. I think that Josh Warrington is an absolutely phenomenal fighter. He really is. But so is Kid Galahad. Whether you like this lad or whether you don't, he is a phenomenal fighter, and he could pose a real problem for Josh Warrington. Josh Warrington, not the biggest hitter in the world. In fact, his knockout ratio is pretty poor, to be honest. Kid Galahad, on the other hand, well, for me, I think if there's going to be a stoppage, it's going to be a Galahad win. On points, I think maybe Josh Warrington. But, listen, you never know. This is one of these kind of fights where I can go either or. But anyway, I like this fight, and hopefully Frank Warren does a better job of selling this fight. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it all. Of course, you drop me yours. As I said, big up to the Yorkshire fans for Leeds and Sheffield, of course. They're both very passionate. Hopefully, there's going to be no trouble on the night. We know that these guys do like to get in a bit of a rumble sometimes, but hopefully that don't happen. Anyway, so that's my thoughts. Please drop me yours below. Click the thumbs up to this video, and of course, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.